You're listening to the Echo Ratings Eventing Podcast, the show with a light-hearted look at the eventing world, all of the big event previews, reviews, and special guests, and of course, backed up with all of the key Echo Rating stats. Welcome to the Echo Ratings Eventing Podcast. Welcome to the Echo Ratings Eventing Podcast and a really special episode. This is one, listeners, that I'm really excited to bring you because we have teamed up with Windrush Equestrian Foundation to bring you a special episode all about the foundation and all about how it was founded and what their aims and goals are. But we have some incredible guests for you. We will come on to them in just a second, but a little bit more about the foundation to start with. It was founded in memory of a lady called Christina Knudsen, who sadly passed away back in July 2016. Now, she was hugely passionate about the sport of eventing, but in particular about supporting and developing talented young riders and helping them pursue dreams within the sport. Now, before passing away, her dream was to create Windrush, and it is in her memory that the foundation runs. And so, to tell us a little bit more about it, to find out a little bit more, delighted to welcome none other than the FEI World #1 and Windrush Ambassador, Tim Price.
Hello, Nicole. How are you?
We're good. I knew we were going to get you on another podcast soon.
Yeah, well, I'm happy to be here. This is a warm-up, and it couldn't be a better cause, actually.
Well, we're looking forward to hearing all about it because you knew Christina for a very long time, and actually she's played a huge part in your career as well. So we're going to come on to that in just a second. Now, This next lady is CEO of the Windrush Equestrian Foundation, and I'm going to do my absolute best to get pronunciation correct, and I'm going to expect marks out of 10. Mariachiara Apruzzese, is that right?
Wow, that is a 10.
Oh, wow, okay. I'll give myself a little pat on the back there. Oh, good. But we should say that you're actually known as MC, which I'm delighted to be able to call you for the rest of the podcast. So that's what we refer to you as from here on in. And also one of the current intake of the Windrush Equestrian Foundation, Susie Berry, Irish international event rider, ranked inside the world's top 200. Susie, welcome to the Echo Ratings Eventing Podcast.
Hi.
We're really looking forward to having you on. We've talked about you quite a lot on the podcast. You've flagged up in many an occasion, and I was very impressed actually at Hartbury a little bit earlier on this year, where I saw you on John the Bull, who was eventual runner-up in the 3-star, and he heads to Blenheim this weekend as well. Now, before we go into a little bit more information on sort of the key players in your team, Tim, I'm just going to ask you a little bit about the background here, because we've alluded to Wesco and his connection to Christina and how that's been a huge part of your career. But tell us a little bit more about it.
Christina was, like you've alluded to, she was an instrumental person in my earlier sort of career over here in the UK, and she came bursting onto our scene, Janelle and myself, with some horses and a huge desire to get involved in the sport and in all ways, really, her own riding pursuits, having horses with ourselves, and then as she evolved and got established, she realized that she wanted to do something a little bit more long lasting and serious, really, that for the sport, and that was a stage that she bought her property. But that kind of encapsulates I think 6 or 7 years that we had her around and involved with us. But no, I mean, Wesco speaks for himself. He was a pivotal horse in my career. So we did have an involvement with quite a number of horses, but the others came and went. But we managed, through Christina's support and through the quality that he was himself, the horse, to pursue a career with him and enjoy that journey, really. Yeah.
And Wesco was owned by Christina, but he now actually runs under the name of the Windrush Equestrian Foundation. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah. So I mean, it was with great sadness that Christina passed away, and from that point on, it actually coincided with Wesco having a time out through an injury. He came back from the injury as he has done very well, and since then he's been under the Windrush Foundation banner in Christina's fond memory, of course. So it's really special to all of us, MC and everyone involved in the foundation, Christina's family and things, that we're able to do this with her dear horse, who she personally really enjoyed, not only watching me ride, but riding him herself when she could and things. And yeah, so it makes it all really, really special, just in the background of the business of creating this exciting academy.
How it all came about. MC, tell us what the aims are, because you've got 3 young riders who were part of the first intake. The 2019 scholars will be announced, I think, by the time this podcast comes out. They will be out there. Now, I saw the shortlist and there are some seriously talented riders on there. But what is the aim? What are you looking for, and what can you offer as the foundation?
Yeah, so the main aims really is to seek out natural talent, support young riders in their training and education, and develop their skills and increase their confidence, which is something we noticed is a lot of young riders seem to lack, especially confidence. This is done by giving them an all-round support, not only in the sport, but also in business. So what we offer through the Young Eventers program is training and education with the intention of setting them up for long, successful and profitable careers in the eventing sector. This is obviously done with Pippa Funnell, who is their mentor and trainer. And also thanks to the Young Riders Academy. It's an academy based in Switzerland. Riders have access to high quality education like sports psychology, team building, business and economics, marketing, and mental coaching. So it's an all-round program.
I find it absolutely fascinating because it's so easy, isn't it, to kind of think, to be a successful event rider, you've just got to be a really good rider. You've got to have good horses, you've got to keep them on the road, but ultimately you need to be a good rider. But actually, the different facets to running a business and to running a business successfully are hugely in depth. Now, Susie, you've been actually based over here in the UK for a couple of years. Just talk to us a bit about your journey as part of Windrush, because you were one of the first scholars last year. And actually, what impact has it had on your career thus far?
It's been amazing. Obviously, Maria's just touched on the educational sessions in Switzerland. So join up with the Young Show Jumper Academy, and we just talk about, the things apart from riding, like managing a yard and your books and insurance.
But it's vital, isn't it? Because
there
are things that, like I say, don't necessarily seem as obvious at the outset, but actually are a vital cog in the wheel of a successful yard.
Totally. So I'm eventually going to move from Apruzzese next year, I think. And it just came at such a cool time to just sort of talk about those things, because I literally have nothing to do with it until next year.
So what sort of training, if we take the educational side of things to start with, and the going into detail about sort of managing your books, that kind of thing, what support is there in terms of setting up a yard? And if somebody's kind of at home thinking, I'm setting up a yard, I've got a yard, what can they take from it? What sort of advice have you really benefited from?
Just writing everything down, and getting someone that knows what they're talking about to help you as well. But we sort of did like a spreadsheet and just wrote everything, all the costs down, and sort of just to see if it'll work and what you can change to make it work better.
I imagine that is probably quite a scary exercise to an extent, because you put it in black and white and actually you would think of all these things that you've got to consider, but in order to make a successful career you have to consider them because it is on top of the horses. We're going to come back to a few of your sort of stable stars in a little while, but in terms of the riding aspect, obviously Pippa Funnell, absolute legend in the sport of eventing, and She's the Burghley winner. She is going to Blenheim this week with very, very good chances. She's hugely passionate about sort of mentoring and bringing on the next generation. What have you learned from that side of things?
She's just been unreal. She sort of helped me with my stressage in particular.
Well, do you know what? I can tell you it's worked because you got your best ever test at 4-star level this year, 32.5.
Yeah. I think might even get a better one this weekend, hopefully.
Oh, okay. Can we ask for a little prediction? What would you be aiming for?
I don't know about a prediction. I don't know, but I think a better.
Come on, put it out there, Susie. What's the prediction? Give us a number. These guys are numbers. They love numbers.
I think Pip might be cross if it's not a 30.
Okay.
Wow.
But yeah.
With which horse? Both of them.
I think the ring probably both of them, to be honest.
Finishing score or starting score?
Starting score.
Yeah. Okay.
No reason you can't aim to finish on it as well.
Yeah, I can aim to finish on it. But it'd be a good start at least.
Yeah, definitely.
But
good luck.
Thanks.
That was also a little bit of a competitive edge because Tim's competing against you this weekend.
I'm just disappointed. Pippa's going to be there as well. I didn't realise that. She's on a roll.
Sorry, Tim. Bad luck.
That news just dawned on me.
But she just really helped on the flat, just like working on the basics and sort of having a clear plan with each individual horse and sort of riding through the test quite a lot.
I think that it's like you said, Nicole, and there's so much to it, so much more than just riding horses and getting your head around all these different aspects of running a business and managing the whole show, the circus, if you like, of having horses and humans and everything, and getting a grasp of the whole picture. I think is almost better than sticking your head in the sand and working or beavering away for years and working really hard and being very because people like Susie, they've got the obvious determination to succeed and the skills and the talent to do so, but I think this almost will help shortcut the journey because you become aware of all these of all the true necessities to do it properly right from the word go, rather than almost parking them while you get on with working really hard for a few years. So I think it's a really beneficial program, and then to have the access to the likes of Pippa, who I know how she is with these guys, and when she puts her head into something, she really goes for it. In fact, I think she was helping you guys the day after she won Burghley. I know that she was heavily involved that day, and that just goes to show her commitment to things such as this. So I think very lucky to have, like you say, a legend like Pippa involved, and it will all equate to really catapulting these lucky young riders along.
Can I just add that throughout the whole applications that we received both last year and this year, which we've received a lot, every single rider has said that they need help with business and mental coaching. Every single one, which is quite interesting.
Yeah.
So almost the psychology side of things as well.
Yeah.
Tim, if you've just, I think, to be honest, that's a really solid piece of advice. Don't bury your head in the sand. I think everybody can apply that in life as well. But for anyone who would consider applying to Windrush in the future, in 2020, or looking or trying to pursue a career in eventing, what would be your key sort of message to them?
I think it's a good time for the likes of the Windrush Academy to be of interest is for riders that are looking to branch out on their own. They've demonstrated themselves to have, and MC, correct me if I'm wrong with this, but I think it's riders that are demonstrating that they have they've already got they've got the desire to be top riders, and then they just need the helping hand to go out and branch out on their own, step outside perhaps the yard that they're in, that they're working along underneath someone else, or that sort of thing. So just that really fledging the nest stage of their careers. And what advice I would have, I guess, is just to this modern era of the sport. You need to be attentive to all these different areas, but to ride horses and to develop your riding is paramount, but to not neglect any corner of your your mental state and your stress levels need to be at a minimum so you're able to perform under the pressures that you need to perform under. So it's just addressing all these different areas, and I think that's something that this foundation is definitely dealing with.
I think it really takes it to the next level in terms of thinking outside of the box and offering support. And I think that sort of fledging the nest expression is probably very relevant to you, Susie. We say you've been with Piggy for how many years have you been at Piggy's Yard?
I think there's 5 years I've been at Piggy's.
5 years. So how intimidating is the thought of actually leaving what is a very established setup, what is a world-class setup, and having somebody to train alongside and look up to and bounce ideas off to set up on your own?
Obviously extremely daunting. I think I sort of feel like I'm more prepared to go, and I've had quite a long I've known for about 6 months that I'm going to move, so it's made it a lot easier. So just being at Pigs's and even being at Pippa's for a few days, just watching how they manage their horses and the yard, and it's just been pretty amazing, to be honest.
Are you planning on setting up a yard in Ireland, or are you staying in England?
Staying in England.
Good news for British eventing. Emsie, in terms of the foundation, 2019, the intake is about to be announced, will be announced once this podcast is released. The 3 girls that were in the original intake, so alongside Susie, Alex Kennedy, and also Mary Edmondson, what's sort of the position in terms of scholars? Is it a certain time length? Do they move on? How many do you take in? That sort of thing.
So obviously they're coming to the end of their first year, and our plans is every year to grow more and more to be able to obviously help more riders. So this year compared to last year, I'm not going to say how many, but you will find out. But there's more than we took on last year. Yes.
I'll be honest and say I saw that shortlist. I think there were 10 riders on the shortlist, and I thought, oh my God, rather you than me.
It was a very hard decision. Yes, it was, and each one of them needed help in a different way. So it was very, very hard this year. But so Susie, Mary, and Alex will finish the program in November when we'll have the last education session, and they'll have in conjunction with the new riders. But so it's been about a year for them, just over a year in November it will have been. But we're not going to just leave them on their own and just forget about them. So they will actually be the first riders to form the Windrush Equestrian Academy.
Okay.
So with the vision that in the future, the riders in the academy will be a group of goodwill ambassadors to support the next generation of riders coming through the program. But in the meantime, we'll organize clinics all together, so they will still be supported through social media. If they need any help with anything they know, they can come to us for any advice, and Pippa will always be available. So they won't be just left on their own. They'll actually be the first one to form the academy.
Okay, and I imagine actually they'll have a very important role in terms of future scholars, because they've been there, done that, got the T-shirt. They'll have no doubt progressed their career, be a couple of steps ahead, and that will have a really valuable sort of perspective for those coming in behind them.
Yes, definitely. And although Susie and Mary and Alex don't know yet, but I will ask them to speak in November and explain a bit what
Susie's dying.
Oh no.
She timed her moment, Susie, so you couldn't react.
Can't wait.
Yeah, I mean, a short, just to tell the new riders about the program, what they got out of it, etc.
And Susie, you're superstars in your yard because you've had a number of very good horses over the years. Carsonstown Athena. I actually remember you watching you at the I think it was the Junior Europeans
My
at
word.
Bishop Burton in
Yeah.
2014. Yeah, the Irish team won team gold, I want to say,
Yeah, we won
and you
gold.
were
Yeah.
on a team with Cathal Daniels and Ryogan Rua.
Yeah. Yeah,
God,
I
my memory is actually
very
Good
good.
memory.
okay. But from Carsonstown Athena, you've had a number of very good horses, and actually your yard at the moment is full of some very exciting talent. Now, announced that you're going to Lilian d'Angers to represent Ireland
Yes,
in the
today.
Young
Yeah.
Horse World Championships. That's hugely exciting.
Really exciting. That's really excited about going there. Sort of been quite a distant aim, but definitely an aim from the start of the year with
And
that horse. So,
will it be your first visit to Lilian?
yeah, it will. Yeah.
Okay, so Monbeg by Design, the horse that will go to the 7-year-old World Championships later this year. But John the Bull was the horse that I mentioned a little bit earlier that I really liked at Hartbury. Finished second to Piggy by the narrowest of margins. We won't talk about show jumping time
No,
penalties.
we're not focusing.
We won't discuss it at all. But he's going to Blenheim this weekend for the 8 and 9-year-old class.
Yeah, he's going. That it'll be his first 4-star. But yeah, he's going to do the 8 and 9-year-olds. Hopefully, we'll pull something useful out of the bag.
Get off to a good start with a 30 in the first phase as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And Ringwood LB actually has produced, I mean, this is an indication of the kind of support from Windrush that actually some of your results this year, at Echo Ratings, we love digging. So your best finishing score at 4-star was this year with Ringwood LB at Belton, which was a 43. But your highest high performance rating, which is an Echo Ratings sort of measurement tool, actually came in 2019 as well with the same horse, Belton. So things are definitely in very good form as we head towards the end of 2019. What plans have you got aside from Blenheim, Lilian? What will be your aims for the end of the season?
So yeah, I have two at Blenheim and then one at Lyon, and then I have some of my 6-year-olds will hopefully go to Osberton, and then Stonehenge. He is on the list for Buccalow, but he's first reserve, so hopefully he'll get in. But if not,
okay,
I haven't really made a backup plan, but he will go somewhere at the end of the year.
Okay, cool. If the Eventing Podcast listeners wanted to follow one of the members of your team, who would you say keep an eye out for them, because they're definitely ones to watch?
I think John the Bull is probably the main one to watch. He's incredible and he just loves it as well. But I also have a 6-year-old who's a half brother to him called Wellfields Lincoln. He's quite green, but I'm pretty excited about him as well.
Okay, excellent. Can I ask, John the Bull, is there a story behind the name? I've often wondered this.
Yes, he's named after a rugby player.
Okay.
Can't really remember the details, but he is quite a chunky little chap. And yeah, he's named after a rugby player.
Okay. I just had visions when he was a foal of all manner of bull-related stories. But, we will
bull by nature.
Right, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
We will look forward to seeing his progress through the rest of the season. Tim, can I ask the plan for Wesco? Dare I ask the plan for Wesco? Am I allowed?
The plan for Wesco is for Poe. He's lining up Poe. So yeah, that's a bit of a. I treat it with a bit of trepidation, only because he hasn't been at that level for a few years now. So I'm really excited. He's in great form, and I'm really looking forward to hopefully getting there and giving it a good shot.
I was going to say that if he went well at Poe, then he might qualify to be eligible to be The T
I just don't want
word,
to get
Tim.
too ahead of. Don't want to get too ahead of myself, but yeah, I mean that would be a real dream for all of us, really.
Yeah.
And so yeah, one step at a time would be to go
One
and
baby
acquit
step.
ourselves well. Yeah, I mean he's feeling really, really good. I've been quietly preparing him for this all the way through, trying to nail a couple more masters than I managed to in the end with him as well, but not through any real fault of his own, and he's just been on great form. So I'm really excited about that with him.
Will he go to Linear pre-Poe, or is Poe the main aim now?
He is going to go to Linear on his way, but I have another horse. I'm planning on a Skona for the Masters class there.
Okay, another 5-star winner.
So I think that would be the way round I'll have it, and he'll be there doing one of the other classes.
Okay.
So he will, and I'm looking forward to having him there, and of course having a Skona and the Event Rider Masters.
Well, we will look forward to seeing him out there, and we will look forward to watching his progress at Poe a little bit later on this year. Do you know what, guys? We have absolutely loved finding out more about the Windrush Equestrian Foundation and the story behind it, because it is an exceptionally sort of personal and meaningful story. And I'm sure Christina would be exceptionally proud of what the foundation is achieving now. And we cannot wait to see where it goes in the future with the academy. And of course, Susie, following your progress and that of your fellow scholars, good luck both at Blenheim and, of course, for branching out on your own. We're looking forward to seeing where that journey takes you.
Oh, thank you.
And Tim, likewise, looking forward to Poe. We won't mention the T word ever again, or until at least next week on the Eventing podcast. But we'll look forward to seeing them later on in the year as well.
It's great. Thanks for having us on, Nicole.
Oh, it's been an absolute pleasure. And MC, I'm glad I didn't have kind of beat myself, seeing as I got it so right the first time with your name. I was delighted that I ended on a high, but thank you, because the foundation is doing an amazing job, and we, as I say, are looking forward to seeing its progress in the future. But exciting times, it is very safe to say.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, it's been an absolute pleasure. And if you want to find out more about the Windrush Foundation, go to windrushfoundation.org.uk. Can I ask just quickly, MC, when applications will be open for 2020, sort of the rough time? So if anybody is interested, they can look out for it.
Yes. So it will be mid-June 2020.
Mid-June. Yeah. Okay, listeners, there you go. If you think it is something you're interested in, look out for that. Go to the website, find out more about it, and follow these riders, because they are the future generations that are going to be at the top of our sport for a very long time. Now, listeners, we have one more very special treat for you before we finish, because joining us on the Echo Ratings Eventing podcast is none other than the Burghley winner, the mentor for the Windrush Foundation, Pippa Funnell.
Hi.
Yes, we're so happy that you could find a little bit of time, because I imagine life has been fairly hectic this last week or so.
Yes, my feet have hardly hit the ground, and I'm now sat in beautiful sunshine at Blenheim Horse Trials with 2 horses at Blenheim this week. Yes, been pretty manic. Obviously, since such an amazing weekend that it still hasn't sunk in, the weekend I had at Burghley. And yes, then it was all systems go.
Just talk us through it, because you win Burghley on Sunday afternoon, which was just amazing and a complete fairy tale. And I think so many people were on your side rooting for you throughout the whole weekend. But you win Burghley Sunday afternoon, you get in your lorry, you're driving home, and the next sort of 24 hours, as much of a whirlwind, well, there would have been a whirlwind heading back from Burghley anyway, let alone with the win on board.
Well, to be honest, it's a little bit standard with my whole life. it's so. I mean, one thing I am absolutely loving at the moment, and yes, it means it's pretty making my life very frantic, because I'm so loving the eventing. But I'm also really loving the jumping and working with the Billy Stud horses, and passionate about the Windrush Equestrian Foundation. So I'm loving the sort of the variation in what I do rather than doing just one thing. So the whole year has been pretty flat out, but it was amazing, the European straight to Burghley. And then, yes, obviously straight from Burghley. Then I had Monday, we had the selection day for the Windrush Equestrian Foundation, the young riders, looking for the next group who I'm going to mentor and train next year. Really enjoyed this year's bunch, Susie, Alex Kennedy, and Mary Edmondson. I've loved working with them. So it was fascinating to have the selection day on Monday. Alice Fox-Pitt was one of the selectors. She came back with me from Burghley, and we were lucky we had a good few drinks in the pub on Sunday night. But yes, starting early, 8 o'clock in the morning, we had sort of throughout the day, we had 10 riders that had been they'd been selected down to 10, and we had Yogi Breisner, Alice Fox-Pitt, Daryl Scathe, and then someone from the Windrush board, Emma, selecting. My role wasn't so much as a selector. I wanted to be a bit more on the side of the riders to realise that I was very approachable, hopefully, and even though I might have looked a bit from the weekend before, but so I was sort of very much, I didn't know these guys, and I was obviously getting to know them, listening to what they had to say, watching how they rode, and thinking, I'm looking for a really enthusiastic bunch that I feel I could work with. And I have to say all 10 of them were really, really sort of enthusiastic, talented, a really lovely bunch. And it obviously I was tired, but it really excited me, the fact, it instilled in me how passionate I am about wanting to help these, youngsters coming through in the sport.
So how did the role as mentor for the foundation actually come about? Because you've always been passionate about it, but how did that sort of marry up with what the foundation are trying to achieve?
Well, I mean, for some years now, I obviously, I do train. I love helping people, but I think as much because I've been so helped myself, a lot of what I've achieved isn't just, yes, a lot of it is from thinking myself and analysing things, but it's also I've had enormous help from a variety of people, and I'm very, very open-minded. And so for a while I've been thinking, and I watch people being taught, and I think there's so many great trainers, but I just feel there's a huge area that's missed in the sort of horsemanship skills, really. But how can you describe that, and how can you teach that? And it's trying to explain that across that it's so important to ride with feel, and it's not easy just to teach that, but feel comes from understanding each individual horse, that there's not one system that suits all horses. And I wanted to sort of pass on that knowledge of what I've learnt with so much with individual horses, and they might be a bit on their head or a bit rude, not because the horse is being difficult, but the horse is built a bit that way. So I wanted to put across, talking about conformation, basically covering all aspects, whether it's conformation, fitness, dressage, riding tests, cross country, dealing with owners, checking horses' teeth, different bits. Trying to cover as much as I could. And in my head, I had this sort of an idea that I wanted to sort of create almost a slightly grown up or a pony club camp type thing for young riders, and instill in them the sort of consistency, day-to-day discipline and consistency. But I couldn't quite figure out how I was going to do it. And then out of the blue last year, I had this phone call from Maria from the Windrush Equestrian Foundation, and telling me all about Christina Knudsen, who had obviously left this trust fund, and she was passionate. She owned Westgate, was passionate about the sport of eventing and wanting to help young riders. So I think I was approached because my name had come up several times. So they rang me and I had a meeting, and I just thought, it would be just a really great opportunity And I straight away was very interested because I feel, as I said, I feel so passionate in passing on many of my experiences, and I have such a strong belief in my system. I'm not saying that they have to follow my system at all, because there are lots of different systems, but I'm absolutely really so into loving the horses and the partnership and doing the right thing by the horses. I just sort of really wanted to put that at the forefront, and obviously when she asked me whether I'd be interested, I straight away jumped at the chance, and then have basically, you know, I'm growing this program and sort of developing it, and you know, loving it really, and they've made it A, possible for me to do, but B, you know, it's hopefully what Christina wanted. You know, she was passionate about the sport, wanted to have young riders, and you know, I'm hopefully doing something that's what she wanted, you know.
I have to admit, I find it fascinating. And the bit that's really struck with me throughout recording this whole podcast is that it isn't just about training riders. You know, riders can go to different trainers, and there's lots of support available in terms of their riding ability or their talent, and sort of channeling that in the right direction. But this is so much bigger than that, isn't it? You know, it's about making the whole career for them possible and sustainable.
Yeah, but I think it's I think, you know, it's amazing because we recognise. I mean, and I was one. You know, I was so lucky because I served an 8-year apprenticeship with Ruth McMullen, and she really taught me absolutely the importance of always analysing your own riding. That 95% of a horse's problem is the rider on top. So I've always addressed myself before I've sort of gone into the horses, and it's doing this because of that. And often it's me that's causing the issues. And so I had that fundamental training, and but all round she was a proper, I don't like to say, but old-fashioned horseman. And there's something to be said. Yes, the sport is more modernised, but actually, you know, the way horses were looked after, and there's so much that we can look back on from, and I learned that, and I was lucky because I served that apprenticeship, and we mustn't lose that knowledge from people that were in the game, not just eventing, but across the whole sport. And that's the thing, whether it's show jumping, dressage, eventing, it's all about the basics and the attention of detail to the basics. And so with these young riders, as I said, it was making it possible. And there are people out there, you know, yes, some people are lucky. They might have the financial help behind them. They might have the lovely horses. And then there are others that really struggle, and they might not have that support. They might not have knowledgeable parents. They might not have that background. And it's not discriminating against anyone, because, you know, yes, it's important in the criteria that we don't just take on board the young riders that are lucky, that have all the facilities, the horsepower, the backing, because you can't say, well, they're not entitled to it, because they might be just as passionate to succeed and want to learn and soak up what I'm having to offer, or, you know, that mentorship as someone that hasn't got it. But at the same time, the people that aren't so fortunate, they need the opportunity. So that was where, to me, it's important that I want to be helping, and I don't worry at all what country they're from, where they're from, what background. That doesn't interest me. What I want to do is work with a group of young riders that are absolutely passionate about a life with horses and seeing the best things by the horses and wanting to soak up sort of knowledge. And if I can help them and mentor them, and as I said, it's not just about the training, it's about discussing the nerves, discussing how low you can get in the sport, discussing all aspects, that we've all been there, and I think it's a well-known fact that people know I'm very honest, which I am, and sometimes I might say things that, you know, I'm saying that I feel and it's truthful, and people might not like to hear that, but at the same time I'm very open to admit my feelings, and I think I don't think that should be seen to be a weakness. I want to encourage that with young riders, that everyone's different. Like every horse is different, and there's no set system for any one person or any one horse. battling on a bit, aren't I?
No, not at all. It absolutely makes sense. And it's almost making that be seen as a strength, because actually that will make them better at what they do, and actually recognizing that there are areas that they can improve in those sort of parts of their, whether it be through psychology or whether it be through how they prepare for a competition. If that can help improve their ultimate performance, then it should be seen as a strength. There shouldn't be a weakness because you're improving it to get better. Pippa, just quickly, what would be the ultimate aim for you? If we come back and talk in a couple of years' time, what would be deemed a massive success? What's the goal?
I mean, we talk and people go on about goal setting and everything else, which I think, yes, for sure. You've got to have your dreams, follow your dreams, pursue your dreams. And I mean, I have in my notes on my phone, I have a thing that I've collected over the years of inspirational sayings and things, which, have helped me enormously. But when you talk about coming back into what am I looking, or 5 years or whatever, it's unrealistic for me that I don't goal set, but my main thing is that I just want to be in a similar place, that I just really love what I'm doing. And I know that sounds all very gushy, because I know, the sun doesn't shine every day, and there are hard days, there are difficult days. You hit the ground one day, you're up the next, and down again. My goal setting really is personally to continue enjoying what I do. And I love, as I said, I love the variation now. I'm too old to go eventing every weekend, but I love the variety. I love still challenging myself. But as much as anything, I really, really want to go away with this Windrush Equestrian Foundation, that over years it grows and it becomes globally recognised, that these youngsters are learning a really good system in which is right by the horse. And that's so important to me. I want to, I have absolutely, people walk into my yard and they can tell my horses are happy. They're really happy horses that are confident in people, and which is the same with the Billy Stud. We know young horses can be difficult. We know their various challenges, but it's still, you have to work it out in your head what's going on, what system you're going to use to help each individual horse, and that's, sorry, I mustn't rattle on and on again, but to me, if I feel these young riders are coming out thinking inspired, not necessarily inspired by me, but inspired by what I'm covering and what I've been saying, and if they have through it have made great friendships, because to me it is about helping each other. It's a tough sport. We all know the ups and downs. People know that from my career. People know that from Piggy's career. It's not an easy journey, but it's tough enough dealing with this sport. But let's all help each other.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think with the riders that are currently part of the scholarship scheme, with Susie, obviously, who we've heard from on this podcast, with Alex and Mary, they're sort of going to go into the Windrush Academy, and that is going to be the kind of the next level. And hopefully, as you say, it will grow and grow. We have absolutely loved hearing from you. Thank you very, very much for taking the time, and good luck at Blenheim this week. We have no doubt that the girls in the current intake are going to do you proud, both at Blenheim this week and in the future. And we're looking forward to seeing who is selected in the 2019 intake, because Pippa, I saw that short list and I don't envy any one of you a role of whittling that down to the final few, because there was some exceptionally talented young riders on there. Thank you for talking to us. Good luck at Blenheim, and good luck as well in the next few years with the Windrush Equestrian Foundation, because it is an incredible opportunity for young riders. What one piece of advice, just quickly, would you give anybody looking to perhaps be a part of it, to apply to this foundation in the future, or even just make a career in eventing?
Oh my God, there's so many pieces of advice I could. I mean, one of the things I often think is in order to achieve your goals, you're not going to get there going up an elevator. You're going to get there by having to go up many, many steps. if that makes sense. An easy ride, and just stick with it. Keep the drive, keep the passion, and use your mistakes in a positive way. It's all part of the learning journey, and it's a good thing to instill in them, because it's so down when they go wrong. But actually, if things don't go wrong, you have to make them. You learn from that, and that's what I think over and over again in my career, and that's what I say to the girls that I've been working with this year, and that's what I'll be saying to the next lot. And I'm really excited about working with the next lot and Fuse Bunch, and I'm really grateful to the Windrush Equestrian Foundation and Christina for making this whole opportunity possible.
Well, I think that is the perfect way to end, because that is one of the most kind of relevant pieces of advice. And I think actually you can apply that in all walks of life as well. But Pippa, thank you. If you want to find out more about the Windrush Foundation, go to windrushfoundation.org.uk. And of course, look out and follow the very, very talented young riders who are part of the foundation scheme at the moment. Pippa, good luck at Blenheim. And we hope we'll get you back on the Equeratings Eventing podcast in the future. Congratulations on Burghley again. And we'll speak to you again very soon, I'm sure.
Lovely. Thanks.
That is all we've got time for on this episode of the Equeratings Eventing podcast. We hope you've enjoyed our Windrush Foundation special, and we'll be back very soon with another episode for you. Thank you for listening to the Equeratings Eventing podcast. This podcast is available for free on iTunes, Spotify, Podcast Addict, or wherever you usually listen to your podcasts. Make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss an episode. Find us at eventingpodcast.com or search Eventing Podcast on social media.